The Kashmir conflict started in 1947 when India was partitioned. India and Pakistan both tried to claim Jammu and Kashmir as it was formerly a princely state. This was the result of the Second World War after British had historically separate allocrates for Muslim citizens and therefore reserved some political seats specifically for Muslims, which not only hindered Muslim into minority status but fueled a growing Muslim separatist movement. Thus, when religious violence broke out across British India, leaving tens of thousands dead, British and Indian politicians started seriously discussing a religion-based division of the subcontinent. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who is the leader of India's Muslim League, at that time started demanding separate nation for India's Muslim population. In 1945, Jinnah said, "It is high time that the British government applied their mind definitely to the division of India and the establishment of Pakistan and Hindustan, which means freedom for both." On August 14, 1947, the independent nation of Pakistan with a Muslim majority was established, followed by the indigenous Hindu majority country of India. During that time, the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, which had a predominantly Muslim population, was ruled by Maharaja Singh, who is a Hindu. Singh wanted independence for Kashmir as opposed to many of the princely states that had allied with one country or another. The Maharaja signed a standstill agreement with Pakistan to avert pressure to join either new nation that permitted Kashmir people to continue trade and travel the world. However, Pashtun tribesmen followed from Pakistan to Kashmir over the border in September of 1947. Singh requested the assistance of India to avoid the invasion, but India replied that Kashmir would have to join India and thus become a part of the new government in order to receive military assistance. In October 1947, instrument of accession, the treaty aligning Kashmir with the dominion of India was agreed by Singh. By doing so, in the Indian constitution, Kashmir was later granted a special status, a status that assured Kashmir control in all except communication, foreign affairs, and defense. In August 2019, the Indian government revoked this special status. Foreign policy is a general strategy that governs a country's activities and relations in its interaction with other states. Domestic factors, actions, or behavior by other nations or proposals for the implementation of particular strategic principles affects the establishment of foreign policy.
Throughout 22 years of being the fourth Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dr. Mahathir made a significant positive impact in bilateral relationship with Pakistan by sharing mutual interests in promoting Islamic solidarity in the aspect of security defense and economic strength diplomacy. Mahathir started focusing on Islamic solidarity after his policies regarding buy British lust. Mahathir shows his sympathy towards Muslims who are less fortunate that live in low socio-economic development countries. And since Malaysia is a dominated Muslim country, Mahathir also showed his empathy by voicing out his strong against towards America's war with Islam. The war with Islam have impacted the Pakistani, especially the Muslims. Imran Khan, which is the current Prime Minister of Pakistan, was delighted with Mahathir's action and felt that Malaysia-Pakistan relations are not only in trade but also love and respect for one country. In the context of security defense, Dr. Mahathir agreed to collaborate with Nawaz Sharif, which also a former Prime Minister of Pakistan, by exchanging military troops and weapon training from respective countries under a joint committee on defense cooperation, which is also known as JCDC, in 1997. This platform might provide potential impact in strengthening both countries' relations. Also, Malaysia and Pakistan played their role in the Middle East conflicts. Let's take Afghanistan and Cambodian issues as an example. The conflict made Mahathir proud of Zul al-Haq, which is the Pakistan former president, because President Zul managed to give independence to Afghanistan after 8 years of wars. This event proved a significant positive impact in foreign policy towards the South-South Islamic cooperation. Hence, Mahathir showed his appreciation with his close friendship with President Zul during the United Nations or UN General Assembly in 1988. Lastly, in the economic strength aspect, Mahathir viewed it as a cornerstone of Malaysian foreign policy. During Mahathir's speech in 1993 in Karachi, both countries show positive outcomes in economics and commercial relations. For example, Pakistan joined ventures with Malaysia in cotton and textile industry, canning of fruits and vegetables, sports good industry, and automotive parts. Over the 5 years period, Pakistan became visible as Malaysia's largest trading partner.
Najib Razak gained premiership in 2009, succeeding Abdullah Badawi with the foreign policy which revolves around the concept of Islam Hadari. Malaysia is to viewed as an Islam nation that focuses on progress alongside other Islam nations under organizations such as the Organizations of Islamic Cooperation (OIC). However, Najib focuses on ways to shape and design foreign policy that would align with the current world order. Under his premiership, Najib Razak assures that his foreign policy will have the theme One Malaysia, People First, Performance Now as the focal point. Najib emphasizes at the 7th Head of Mission Conference that these principles will shape the Malaysian foreign policy. In 1957, Malaysia and Pakistan established a diplomatic relation. The relations between Malaysia and Pakistan can be described as a brotherly relationship where it can be justified with the involvement of the two nations in the OIC and the Commonwealth of Nations. Malaysia's foreign policy during Najib Razak's administration viewed economics as a branch which shapes and designs foreign policy relations as well as diplomacy. The openness of the foreign direct investment (FDI) at the time and removed trade barriers contributed to the goal of economic development. Najib, during his reign, sought to sustain Malaysia's reputation as a broad, also diverse capital market in Asia. This aligns with the Capital Market Master Plan, which is to increase and widen foreign participation in Malaysia's capital market. Najib's foreign policy is based on credentials that are business-friendly and is believed to be able to pave deeper trade and investment links. A deeper investment link and wider trade will be paved via bilateral relations between nations. Thus, Malaysia's participation in multilateral framework enhances economic cooperation and changes to rational foreign policy. In 2013, Pakistani High Commissioner to Malaysia, Shahid Masroor Gul Kiani, elaborates on the PNS Saif, which was commissioned in 2010 and is capable of operating independently. The major aim of the task force is to strengthen the maritime community in order to secure peace and stability, also to promote an adequate understanding of both Malaysia and Pakistan. The High Commissioner also mentioned that in all professional fields, the Pakistanis enjoy cordial and brotherly relations with Malaysia. Thus, the bond is expected to strengthen and form further the bilateral cooperations between the two countries. Thank you.
Malaysia, as we all know, is a diplomatic country, opening diplomatic relations with many other states that even includes China. Of course, one of the many reasons to this is to advance or maintain its own interests. This could be of economic, security, and even education significance. Now, Malaysia and India. These two states have had a diplomatic relation ever since Malaysia's independence in the year of 1957. Tun Mahathir's infamous Look East policy has undeniably left an impact to multiple other countries. Some has even adopted and adapted to it by themselves according to their own ways, of course. The influence this policy has on India led to this particular event. Mahathir visited India for the G15 summit in December 1993. However, it was turned into a bilateral meeting due to lack of quorum, with the two prime ministers discussing about closer bilateral cooperation between them in sorts of political, economic, and commercial levels. This shows that the two prime ministers both wanted to pursue good relations between them for the benefit of respective countries. As for India, education is one of the aspects leading them to have good relations with others. Evidently, until the end of 1980s, a huge number of Malaysians had come to India to study, and apparently that was significant for the development of these India-Malaysian relations. It is to note that Malaysia and India were once on good terms, but that has changed after Tun Mahathir, in his second era of rule, voiced out at the 74th United Nations General Assembly regarding Jammu and Kashmir. This results in backlash from India as they boycott Malaysian products. They switched roles with Pakistan, ironically, who was previously on bad terms with Malaysia. Now we are on good terms with Pakistan. Unfortunately, there is not much on Tun Mahathir's stance regarding that issue during his 20 years of tenure with Jammu and Kashmir. If we look at Malaysia's decision of backing India in 1962, said to negate Islamic considerations, that kind of contradicts Tun Mahathir's personal stance. He has been very vocal and very firm regarding the fate of Muslims. So judging from that, it is highly probable that he would have done the same thing he did in the 74th UN Assembly.
Firstly, Najib did an official visit to ASEAN-Indian Remembrance Summit. I discussed about the several aspects. First one is domestic politics. Second is the economic aspects. Third is the cultural elements. Najib discussed about these three aspects in the ASEAN Remembrance Summit. The first one is domestic politics. What Najib discussed was, he saw Barisan National Coalition with India is very important in a way to win over Malaysian Indians, which about the 7% of the overall population in Malaysia. Next, Najib recognized every vote is important because even though the Indian population is 7%, he recognized that the 7% is also an important element to win over Barisan Nasional. He also domestically related to Indians with Malaysians, but how he related with India and Indians in Malaysia. He played a role by Malaysian Indians to bring Malaysia and India closer. Next, we go to economic aspects. What Najib discussed about the economic aspects in the ASEAN Indian Remembrance Summit. They meet and cultivate good relations with chief ministers of southern India, because Najib knows that most of Malaysian Indians are from southern Indians, not from northern India. He also includes business leaders and politics, so that in the meetings of the politics, once he discuss about the business aspects, he sure that the economy of Malaysia will come up with the political aspects. Modi's Act East policy was to encourage ASEAN countries to view India as an open business, which means the Modi, there's Modi's Act East policy is encourage ASEANs to view the country India as a open business country. The fourth one is a cultural element, namely Tamil cinema. Najib likes to watch Tamil cinema. He likes to watch Rajinikanth film in Hollywood. So when Rajinikanth visited to Malaysia, it was a plus point for Najib to get closer to India, to Malaysia.
As we know, Najib's foreign policy tends to lean towards more on the economic side and on a peaceful approach. By doing so, leaning towards the economic side, our country are more open towards foreign direct investment, where it contributed to our economic development. By doing this, it is believed to be able to path deeper ties to trade and investment, which is through bilateral ties among nations, for example, India and Pakistan, which improve our economic cooperation and transition. However, by having ties with India, Najib also fulfills his own domestic political agenda, where generally Indians in Malaysia originate from south of India. Right. However, by having good ties with India, Najib have his own political agenda domestically, where generally we know most Indians originate from South India. Therefore, by having this close relationship with India, so there is a Tamil artist named Rajinikanth visited Malaysia, which helps to attract Najib towards the local Tamil community, which really helps him to gain support local Indians. Moving on towards Mahathir, as we know, his foreign policy is prone towards diplomatic side. He has a very strong stand if it's involved Islam. For example, in the current issue with Kashmir between India and Pakistan, he mentioned that in the United Nations General Assembly, where he mentioned, now despite United resolution on Jammu and Kashmir, the country has been invaded and occupied. There may be reasons for this action, but it is still wrong. The problem must be solved by peaceful manners. India should work with Pakistan to resolve this problem. Ignoring the United Nations would lead to other forms of disregard for the United Nations and the rule of law. By saying Jammu and Kashmir has been invaded and occupied, this results in India to restrict imports of Malaysian palm oil. However, Pakistan offered to import palm oil from Malaysia, but the amounts are less profitable. Pakistan managed to import around 1 million, and while India used to import $4.4 million of palm oil. By facing the Indian restriction ban, Mahathir in defense, they stressed on that Malaysia was a trading nation and needed to be nice to people, but also stressed that it was important to speak up. As he mentioned this by saying, sometimes what we say is liked by some and disliked by others. So to overcome the ban, the last government study the effect of the boycott. Moreover, he stated that we'll study the effect of their boycott, but the Indian government has not said anything. So we'll see what their government policy is going to be like. So in conclusion, since Malaysia is under new leadership, the first task should be to reset the relationship between Malaysia and India. Also, Malaysia's new Foreign Minister Ishamuddin already met with Indian High Commissioner Mridul Kumar. So basically, this indicates that the relation with Malaysia and India is starting to cool down. However, it is still too early to see or to judge how Malaysian and India's relationships going to be in the future.